So for those who don't know you, who's Andy Elliott?
Listen, here's who I am. I'm a reborn again Christian. I believe without love, you're bankrupt. Sales and leadership changed my life. Yes, I am a savage. I am a renegade. I promise you. Like, if we're going to war, you want me on your side, because I will rip your throat out. I made 125 grand at 18. I made 225 at 19. I made my first 500 grand, which is $500,000 by the time I was 20. Over 20 years, until I was 39 years old, I'd have learned to make, 2 million, $2.5 million a year.
You were talking to me, you told me, hey, the older you, nobody would like that person.
I wasn't the best person I needed to be. I woke up when I was 39, and over the next 5 years, I would learn how to kill all the leashes, all these self-limiting beliefs that I had about myself, these lies I was telling me my whole life, be set free. From 39 to 45, I would 50x my income. Well, from what I made my whole life. Look, I've learned this. Look, a focused fool could beat a distracted genius. Maybe I'm not the best, but I'm focused and I believe and I got confidence, delusional confidence. Like, I think, oh, it's gonna happen. And then everybody's surprised when it happens.
You're known for intensity and no excuse approach to sales.
Look, you gotta keep your freaking word. Not because it's bad for anyone else, but it's bad for you too. If you know internally the person that you have to live with 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for the rest of your life, you gotta make sure that you trust you and like you. People that really undergo a lot of childhood pain are the ones that have a lot of perseverance. Those people usually end up doing really big things.
Like, you have kids as well. How are you gonna teach them?
Don't shelter your kids. That's where you'll get in trouble. Me and my wife, we fight in front of our kids.
Really?
I tell my son, I say, hey, listen, do you and your sister fight? When you and your sister fight, is she no longer your sister? We might not always agree, but at least we'll understand each other.
What's the key to staying obsessed with success without self-destructing?
There is no balance. Okay, it's work-life integration. It all flows together. People don't burn out, they lose their purpose. When you forget why you're doing what you're doing, you're finished. What it costs you not to change your life is a life of regret and wasting time. You don't ever know what's going to happen, but if you don't take action, you'll never know.
My man Andy, how you doing? Thank you so much for the opportunity. It really means a lot. So, as you know, you're coming to Montreal in September.
That's right.
Super excited. Super excited. So it's going to be the biggest, Daniel G said it, it's going to be the biggest conference in Canada. Not Montreal, but Canada. He said it. And first, I want to introduce you to my audience. So for those who don't know you, who's Andy Elliott?
Well, so we're labeled, right? World's fastest growing sales training company. So world's fastest growing sales trainer. Sales and leadership changed my life. And I believe that sales is a free enterprise system. And I think a lot of people right now, they want to build a new life. And a lot of people think that sales is like, pushy. It's not. It's the art of communication. It's very simple. And if you can learn the art of communication, you can learn the art of leadership, you'll get rich. And we see millions of people doing it all around the world right now. So what has helped me change my life, I built a sales training program to teach people what I do. And they just take that into their life and they kill it and they crush it. And it's awesome, man. There's a lot of things that we stand for, but what we do primarily is we live in the sales industry and we live in the team building space and, upper leadership.
Your success didn't come 20 years ago. You blew like 3-4 years ago. That's what Danny told me. How was it? Did you struggle in your early days?
Yeah. So success, right? It means different things at different times in life. So from 0 to 18, I was broke. Never held more than $5 in my hand. If we're showing this show anywhere in the world, there's a show when I was younger. It was called Jerry Springer. Okay, you should look it up.
Yeah.
That was kind of like my life growing up, Jerry Springer. At 18 years old, though, I got into sales. And even though that sales helped me make a lot of money, I made 125 grand at 18. I made 225 at 19. I made my first 500 grand, which is $500,000 by the time I was 20, in sales. In sales. You would say, well, that's successful. Well, I never really had a good leader. So I made a lot of money. I would learn to make over 20 years until I was 39 years old. I'd have learned to make, 2 million, $2.5 million a year. And I'd be good at sales, but I would lose all that money. It would fall through my fingers because I wasn't the best person I needed to be. Okay. I never had a good leader. But at 39, which is I'm 45 now, the last 5 years, I totally recreated my life. And I've had a new definition of success. And so my most recent success, my best life is lived right now with this new information that I know that I'm sure a lot of these people are going to learn right now on this podcast.
That's crazy.
The highest form of success.
39 years old. That's when you kind of like exploded, and you were happy with yourself.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
30
it's
at
no
39,
age.
at 30, from 39 to 45, I would 50x my income.
Well,
From what I made my whole life. I would 50x per in 1 year. And how? By the things we're going to talk about, which is success. I'm a father, so I've got 3 kids. So success to me is being a great daddy. Okay. It's super important to me. Being a father, right? Because we're in a fatherless nation. And so that's important. And then being a husband, right? Like a lot of people don't value the family anymore. They don't. A lot of young men never become into manhood because dads are off trying to make money in business and all these things. They tear the family apart. They're not there for their kids. So they don't show their kids how to go from boyhood to manhood because the men are off working. And at the end of the day, like I want my wife to admire me. I want to show my wife that she married an awesome man. I want to inspire her. I want her to look up to me, right? I want to motivate my family. I want to do the same for my kids. I also want to have a big team. Super important to me that I have a big team, a very loyal team, a dangerous team, an army, right? My company. Um, I also want to put a financial fence around my money, around my family, which means I want to make a lot of money. Like, duh, but a lot of people are one dimensional. They just think that if they make money, it's going to solve all their problems. Making a lot of money and not having a great home life, not being a great father, not having a great team, not staying in great shape, not looking in the mirror and being proud of who you are, you're just going to bury all these problems with money. But one day those problems, they're all still there.
yeah.
They're going to come back out. And that's what's happening in the world. So success to me is getting it all. And by the way, have a great relationship with God. I want to have all these things. And today I'm 45. I woke up when I was 39, really about 45 years ago. I woke up and over the next 5 years, I would learn, you know, how to kill all the leashes, all these self limiting beliefs that I had about myself, these lies I was telling me my whole life that other people told me. I would learn to get rid of all these things and be set free. I would learn to own my mind. I would learn to learn new skill to make as much money as I want. I would learn that success is getting it all, not getting one or getting two or getting this and getting that. I was taught very young success is money, and it was sacrifice for what you want, or what you want becomes a sacrifice. And so I wanted money, and so I had to sacrifice everything else in my life. And then what I did is I hurt a lot of people along the way. And I think a lot of people watching this right now have destroyed a lot of really good things in their life. They have betrayed people. They've been unloyal. They'll shortcut, they'll lie, they'll cheat. They'll do anything to be successful. When really at the end of the day, you just got to become a really good leader. So we said the world's fastest growing sales training company. How? Because we build leaders, right? Which the greatest resource in this world is leadership, right?
Let me dive into that.
Yeah.
Yesterday, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
We're at your place. I think the only people who are there is your family and the people you work with, which is family as well.
Yeah.
And we're the only people outside.
Yeah.
And thank you again. And you were talking to me. You told me, hey, the older yourself, the older you, nobody would like that person.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like you were a hateful person? Like what is it? What is?
No, I just said the old me.
Yeah.
Nobody would have want to look up to that person or be that
Got it.
person. Um, I made good money, right? Um, but I wasn't being the example for a lot of people. I didn't take good care of my health. You know, I uh, I was never present when I was at home. I worked all the time, which is okay. I'm a hard worker. I love work. But when I would go home, I didn't spend any time with my family. I was with them. I was there in the home. I was in the pictures, but my mind was still always at work. And so I wasn't becoming these things that I always wanted. I just, again, I wasn't being a good example, man.
And how was your relationship with your wife? Because she's been around for like
Yeah, 18 years.
18 years.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
she lived.
my relationship with her, I'm a loyal man. I don't cheat. I provide well for my family. But the thing about love, when you fall in love with someone, is that that love is supposed to grow. Okay. And most of the time, people get excited when they first meet each other. It's like it's new. Yeah, ah, man, this is new. It's exciting. I'm going on another date. I want to prove myself to her. I want to make her fall in love with me. It's exciting. And then you get married, and then people are like, oh, I got to go build a business. I got to go make money. And then the thing that was once exciting, that starts to die. And so my wife meets a new man now every day. Me, I keep recreating, I keep reinventing. And I love that. And she's chasing me around the house after 18 years, crazy in love with me. But it wasn't always that way because I didn't ever really make her feel that she was very important after we got married. She knew what was important to me was the job, was to make a lot of money. And a lot of us guys were taught that if we can just make a lot of money, number one, if we make a lot of money, our girls are going to love us more, right? That's not the truth. If you have a good woman and you make more money, she will not love you more. Now, if you have a good woman, she wants you to go make a lot of money because she hopefully thought you were a badass, which is why she married you. But she also wants to feel number one and like she's important. And I just didn't do a good job in doing that. So I was just saying, if you met the old me, I don't think I was a very good example. I wouldn't have wanted to clone the old me. I'll clone this guy. This guy's a good guy. I care about people. I got a good heart. I got good intentions. And that's another thing on the inside of me. When I was younger, I just wanted to make money. So my intentions were like, how much money can I make? And now it's like, how many people can I help? It's just a different intention.
Thank you for sharing this. Some of the most successful people I know have one thing in common, right? Their drive didn't come from comfort; it comes from pain, right? On my side, I needed to prove people wrong because when I was a kid, I was bullied because of my color of my skin, my accent. I was fat kid as well. So what I did is I changed entirely my environment. So I was in one school. I lied to my parents that hey, I didn't like that school. I want to go to another school. So that moment, I realized that if you take actions, like stuff comes to you, like results come to you.
Yeah.
That was the day I was maybe 15, 16 that when that happened. Do you have any realization like that? That moment?
When you went to the new school, it gave you a chance to be a new person.
Exactly. I lost all my weight.
Yeah, nobody knew who you were, so you could be someone brand new.
100%. And yeah, that happened me a lot. So that was my realization very young. And after that, it was like a drug. Okay. Every time I take action, I get results. So right now I'm here because of those actions. Is there any moment like this in your life that one specific realization?
Yeah. I mean, I call it recreation, I mean, listen, you say like what motivates you to change, what drives you is kind of what you were talking about. And what you don't have as a kid, you crave as an adult. As a kid, I didn't have a lot of love. So when I get older, I'm like, if I make a lot of money, everybody's gonna love me. Okay. I wasn't cool as a kid. So as I get older, I think if I make a lot of money, I'm gonna be the new cool guy. Right. So I'm always like, like if I do this thing, people will love me. You know what I'm saying? And then also I have to like me. And everybody bet against me. People that really undergo a lot of childhood pain are the ones typically that have a lot of perseverance and they don't quit and they have a chip on their shoulder. You know what I'm saying? They got something to prove. And those people usually end up doing really big things. People that normally don't have a lot of pain when they're younger, they don't really want something because they had it good when they were younger. So finding comfort, everything's been pretty comfortable their whole life. I saw a lot of kids, get nice cars. Their parents had nice houses. They got to they got to go out to eat to dinner. We didn't ever get to go out to eat. That wasn't even an option. We ate bologna sandwiches at home, and I was lucky. And so if I could make a lot of money, I could go out to eat. I could do things. So I always wanted to have nice things.
Now that you're successful, Andy, like you have kids as well. You have 2 kids, right? Three. So they have a better life than you, right? How are you gonna teach them? Because you don't want trauma to them, right? You don't want to put them in a difficult situation either. Because we know that when you have difficult situation, you have better chance to make it in life. But that's not what we want to our children. How do you teach them differently?
Well, number one, I've explained every situation to my children that I went through when I was young. So since my kids were very little, I've explained everything to them. Every day they have a loving mom. I explain to them every day. I'm like, this isn't the victim story. You guys are right. Your father didn't have a mom. You guys need to realize how lucky you are to have your mom. It's your job to always take care of your mother and always appreciate her. You never disrespect your mother. And your job, because you have a good mother, is to prove to your mother, because of how much she's loved you, how great you're going to become and how excellent of a life you're going to live. That is your job, because you have a good mother and a good father, is to prove to us that all the work we've put into you, it was all worth it. Yes, you are our blood, but I want you to appreciate it. And I want my kids to step into my shoes without ever having to step into my shoes. So I've shared all our struggles, all our pain. We explain. Our kids come to every event. They come to all of our trainings. My son has been selling on the phone since he was 7 years old. He's 14 now. We literally have our kids do everything in our business so they understand. They've watched thousands of people come to us and cry and bawl. And my kids, I don't ask them to leave the room. I say, hey, no, they'll listen. They need to understand. My kids understand everything. They understand how much pain's in the world, and they understand that our family was called to help people change. It's our ministry. It's just we want to help people change. And so, like, I tell them, you're lucky, you know. And so I think they understand that. And who knows until something really hard comes on. But we're trying our hardest to guide them through understanding the hell that their parents have walked through, and then the hell that exists out there. That's why they got to stay ready for war.
Share your stories, share your struggles. That's the best
Well,
way.
take your kids with you on the whole journey. Don't shelter your kids. That's where you'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna give an example. Me and my wife, when we fight in front of our kids.
Really?
Yeah. Well, let me explain why.
Why?
Well, because I tell my son, I say, hey, listen, do you and your sister fight? Yeah. When you and your sister fight, is she no longer your sister? She's still your sister, right? Okay, so is your sister ever going to stop being your sister when you get mad at her? Yes or no? No, she's always going to be your sister. And your mom is always going to be my wife. Me and your mom love each other more than anything in the world, just like you and your sister love each other. And you guys aren't always going to get along, and we aren't always going to get along. But you know what? We want to prove to our kids not to be scared of me and mom when we get into a fight. We fight for 5 minutes and we get over it. There's always going to be a disagreement in life. I don't want my kids to be one of these people that see my parents fighting. Oh my God, what's going on? What's going on is your parents are fighting because we're normal, just like you and your brother and sister are going to fight. But you know what? In 5 minutes, we're going to get over it. We're going to forget about it. And we're going to move on. Me and my wife have some rules to fighting. We fight fair. We stay pure. We never give up. And we never get historical. We don't bring up the past during we're fighting about this now. I go, yeah, but 3 years ago, we don't talk about it. We're talking about right now. I let her talk. She listens to me talk, and we're over it. Man, we're professional fighters. But my point is that after 5 minutes, we get over it. And then we don't walk around and be upset at each other anymore. It's gone. And so our kids get to see how fast we can resolve. And our kids, honestly, they resolve fights now in 5 minutes together. So, like, doing this with our kids, imagine if we would shelter them from it. What, you don't think they're ever going to get a fight? You don't think they're going to have to resolve a problem? Dude, they're getting to see us do it, which is our job as parents.
Let me ask you this, be honest. Who gave up first? Your wife or you?
Well, there's a saying when you're married. When you're married, there's a saying. It says, if someone wins, no one wins. So if I win, and let's say I hurt my wife,
yeah,
right? I don't win. I just hurt my wife. If my wife wins and I lose, she hurts me. Why don't you want to hurt me? I'm the husband. So we have this saying in our marriage, and it says, if someone wins, no one wins. And so, like, our goal isn't to be right. Our goal is to understand each other. The only reason why people get mad at each other is because there's a miscommunication. And so me and her just have to communicate really good together. And if we communicate, we might not always agree, but at least we'll understand each other.
It's crazy you're saying all this. You're a family man. I can see it. Like, when I had you as a main speaker in Montreal, I was working with public relations to get, our event known. And a lot of people saw the lineup, Daniel G, Andy Elliott, me. They're like, oh, this is too much alpha. We don't like it. Like, so alpha is like a sensitive word at the moment. I just want people to realize how Andy is a family man, respect women. Like, for some reason, they put you in another category.
Well, I got these social media guys, right?
Yeah.
And they always like to find the craziest content. And no one ever knows where that content came from.
Yeah.
So I'm giving an example. Maybe the military brought me out to come train them.
Yeah.
Right? A bunch of soldiers that were falling out of line. And so they bring me in to be hard on them. Well, my social media plays that. And they're like, I would never let someone talk to me like that. They paid me to go in there and talk like that. But they don't tell anybody where that clip came from. So when you see me on social media, you're like, man, who is this? Listen, here's who I am. I'm a reborn again Christian, just completely clear. I love people with all my heart. I believe without love, you're bankrupt. Yes, I am a savage. I am a renegade. I promise you. Okay, like if we're going to war, you want me on your side. Okay, because I will rip your throat out. But my goal, though, is not to create anything but just transformation of lives. Look, dude, I was lost for a long time. I didn't have a good leader. I became a good leader. it changed my life. I've changed millions of people's lives. I'm out there to build great leaders that can go change millions of lives. Like your event, this event, it's going to change millions of lives. Those people are all going to go become world changers. It's either you change the world or let the world change you. And I'm going to change the world. And so, like, I want you to know that. Yeah, I believe masculinity is a good thing. It's like, shouldn't men turn from little boys into men? Yeah, what are men's job? To protect the home, protect their families, have something to stand up for. I mean, like, but the family values are a really big deal to me. By the way, I built a 9-figure business in a couple of years. Okay. Everybody understands how much money 9 figures is. All because I just became a good person. And people say, what do you mean? Well, who you become will determine what you attract. If you're attracting X income right now, that's because of who you are. If you want to make more money, change and become a different person.
Like, what's the reason why people have a nasty annotation on alpha males and masculinity?
Well, probably because they were bullied at some point.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hurt people hurt people. If you've ever been hurt by somebody, somebody didn't want to hurt you. Problem is someone hurt them and they've never found a good leader. So people should be taking their wounds and instead of hurting people, they should be turning them into their weapons. They probably got hurt somewhere, man. So listen, imagine this. Okay. There was a point where I was really hurt in life. I was really hurt. I was in a bad place. During that time, I probably wasn't very good to some people. And now those people probably hate someone like me. But the deal is, I didn't have a good leader at that point. I didn't know what to do. So I made some bad choices. And this is just life. Like we've all only lived one time. We're only going to live once. Okay. So it's all of our first times. We're all learning lessons every day. And so the reason why these events are necessary and things are so that we can come in and maybe we don't have to make these mistakes, or maybe we've made them and now we're like, oh, I see where I went wrong now. Right. And dude, there's never been a better time to be great than right now. Period.
I truly believe that.
Very special time.
You're known for intensity and no excuse approach to sales.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest mental mistake salespeople, let's talk about sales, make today? Like, what's the biggest mental mistakes that salespeople do?
Number one, they don't believe in themselves.
That's it?
Well, number one, yeah. I mean, listen to me. If I'm going to sell something, right? Whoever has the most conviction is going to win. Whoever has the most confidence is going to win. Whoever has the most certainty is going to win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, like, that's called belief. So in sales, a lot of people don't believe. You know what doubt is?
Yeah.
Doubt. A lot of people have doubt, which is why they're unsuccessful. You've all had someone doubt you at some point. But what if you were the one that doubted you? Listen, doubt is a traitor. It's a traitor. Okay. And so what if you were the enemy? And so in sales, what I've learned is that the customers aren't bad customers. They requested information. They want to do business with you. But if you don't believe and if you doubt yourself, it's over. Also, secondly, this is a big problem, confidence. A lot of people don't have confidence. I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't take very good care of yourself, you're not going to have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
If you don't train, you don't study, you don't prepare, you don't practice, you're not going to have any confidence. If I get an objection and I haven't practiced like overcoming objections for hours and got my reps in, well, when someone comes to me with an objection, how am I going to have confidence? I mean, practiced. Right? It's like people are like professional wingers. They just wing everything and hope they're going to be great. It's not how it works. So you got to have belief and you got to have confidence. Two big missing pieces from salespeople. And they both can be solved with preparation and training.
And you always say people buy you and before the product.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one of the reasons I got to places like having a podcast with you, becoming friends with Danny, having a podcast with Dorian, Sarah, and PBD. It's all because of my charisma and the fact that I was confident enough. Those people,
well, you believe in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You asked for it.
Yeah.
If you didn't believe for it, you wouldn't ask for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you wouldn't be here if you didn't believe you could be here. Look, you know, I've learned this. Like a focused fool could be a distracted genius. You're focused. You may not be the best. Maybe I'm not the best. But I'm focused and I believe and I got confidence, delusional confidence. Like I think, oh, it's going to happen. And then everybody's surprised when it happens.
And you put a lot of focus on your health. Like, I got a slap on my face yesterday, because I told everybody in front of 500 people, the pre-launch, that I wasn't going to get into shape for September. And you told me, when you have you started? I said, next week. I'm like, you're not about that. You don't have the mindset yet, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, because if you wanted it, you would already have had it.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's like if somebody wants something, they'll already have it. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to start having a better attitude. Why don't you start right now? Like we don't start tomorrow. We don't start tonight. We don't start later. We don't start when we go into our job. We start right now. It's like, dude, you just got to understand if you want it, you'll have it. And if you don't want it, you're not going to get it. And so I always just tell people that intense part, remember we were going right after, you're really intense. Well, honestly, would you stay in a relationship with somebody that constantly lied to you? Would you?
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
And what if you say that you're going to go to the gym Monday morning, you don't wake up and go? Did you lie to yourself?
100%.
Well, that's why you don't like you. And if you tell yourself a lie, internally, you know that you're a liar. And so what happens is that all these things that you want to do don't really end up happening. And so that's why I'm like really intense about, look, you got to keep your freaking word. Like you have to, not because it's bad for anyone else, but it's bad for you too. If you know internally the person that you have to live with 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for the rest of your life, you understand there's no one else that's going to be with you as long as you, right? Okay. You got to make sure that you trust you and like you. You have to. Your main objective in life is for you to be able to trust yourself. And if you can do that, you'll become dangerous. I didn't trust myself till I was 40 years old. I started keeping my word. Confidence went up, my belief went up, my income 50x. Everything changed in my life. And people say, oh, that can't happen. Well, pull your year to date out for a minute. Let's take a peek at it.
But six packs,
Well, six packs are just a standard thing to me. It's just an elite level. I always say this, and if you want to write something down, write down, do I want to be good? Do I want to be great? Or do I want to be the GOAT? It's just like, bro, like if you want to be the GOAT, like I just call it GOAT mentality. It's like we're just the highest standard in all the areas. Fitness, family, faith, business, income, like all of it, team, leader. And so like, I just can't look up to somebody that doesn't take care of themselves. I find it really hard to believe that you're going to take care of me if you're not taking care of yourself.
in leadership, people taught me like if you want to lead somebody, you gotta understand what they want, right? Right. If this person wants to make millions of dollars, you push him like he wants to make $1 million. If this person wants to make $100,000 a year, you push him differently. Because you will affect these people if you talk differently with them, right? So when this person don't really want six pack, like I know like you're saying this, but like don't want six pack. How do you?
That's not what they want. Yeah.
That's not what they want.
No,
How do you react to that? Like
nothing. It's okay. I mean, listen, hey, everybody wants different stuff. Remember I said good life, great life, GOAT?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, dude, if you want a good life, and a good life to you is eating whatever you want, whenever you want, not going to the gym, not taking care of yourself. You don't really care what you look like naked. I'm going to be honest, like you don't really care. Like whoever it is, making a lot of money, just having fun with your buddies, going out to the bar, that's a good life. Hey, that's what you want. You should go get what you want. I'm not mad at you. But for me, I'm taking over the world, dude. I ain't got time for the bar. I don't have time to be eating crap. I'm a Ferrari. I can't fuel it like a Ford Taurus. I don't put cheap gas in a high-powered V12 freaking Porsche. You don't do that. That's against, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you can't convince someone to take over the world. Our goal isn't to convince them they take over the world. Our goal is to convince you that whatever you want, find out what it is and become the best at what you want possible. And I think a lot of people could take over the world and change the world. I just think that a lot of people don't believe enough that they could do it. And maybe other people have labeled them that they can't do it. And so they can't get out of that. You know what I mean? And that's why there's so much hate when someone rises. When someone changes and they become better, that's why hate comes.
Talking about hate, I noticed something. People don't hate on those below them. They hate on the ones that are doing great, right? I know you had so
I have a lot of hate.
100%, 100%. So especially with intensity you are, what do you think sensitive people trigger so much heat?
Well, number one, there's two things. Number one, I make people question themselves. Okay, because everybody could be as successful as they want to be. Somebody's watching this right now, and they could make millions a year. They could. And so when I start talking about how to do it, they don't believe that they could, or they believe that that's a scam and it's an internal belief that they have with themselves. So when I'm talking about something, it makes them question themselves. And so they hate me. Really, at the end of the day, I think they hate themselves. I think there's a battle going on in them, and them saying that I'm a loser makes them feel better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, maybe just like them, I said people put boundaries on people and say that you're only capable of this. Look, people said you were the wrong colored skin. They said that, you're not a good speaker. They said you came from a poor area, right? They said that you would never amount to this. They said that you were the fat kid. They said that you were all these things. The deal is that they don't know what's inside of you and they don't know who you can become, but they put a label on you. And when you broke outside of that label, or what you think all were like, yay, he did it. Or do you think they were like, screw that guy? They all said, screw that guy.
Mhm.
I always tell people when you go to change, it's very rare that you get support from people that you already knit. But there's a whole new world ready to say, man, look at that winner. I love your story. You came from here, you're over by Indiana. Look at you now. You're killing it. Dude, I want to be like you. You're my mentor. That makes you feel good, right? But that guy wasn't there with you when you were young. And so I always tell people when you go to change, the people that will support you is after you change. But when you change normally, and then people, when they see someone on the process of changing, they just hate on it because you haven't given the world the evidence that you're ultra successful yet. So when they see you trying your butt off, instead of supporting you, be like, dude, I see you going, brother, don't stop. They're like, man, screw that guy. He's no one, dude. Who does he think he is? He's got a suit on and he thinks he's cool. It's like, bro, you're making me question myself, and I don't like that. So screw you. And then when you make it one day, they'll either say, hey, still screw you, or they're going to be like, I knew he was going to make it. I knew he was, man. I knew he was, you know. And anyways, so that's just how it works, man. But the hate is cool. And by the way, as a social media perspective, you'll never make you'll never find new clients and grow your channel without haters. Okay. What's on Instagram? If I have 2.5 million followers, I'm pretty sure a million of them got haters. I
How
mean,
much?
oh, I don't know. I mean, but it's cool though. I'm grateful for them. If they watch the content because they like to comment on my stuff that thank you because I'm not going to reach another million without them. I need them. They fuel the algorithm. They're algorithm feeders. I'm grateful for them. I love haters.
High performers push limits, but many burns out, right? What's the key to staying obsessed with success without self-destructing? Because people like us, like we push all the time and we love what we do, but what's the balance? But what's the balance where you don't burn out?
Well, number one, there's no balance. There's no trophy for balance. If you want to be one of these world changers and not be changed by the world, if you want to take over the world, okay, there is no balance. Okay, it's work life integration. Work life integration. It all flows together. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
And you said, so how do you burn out? Well, people don't burn out, they lose their purpose.
Mm.
When you forget why you're doing what you're doing, you're finished, Bill. You're finished. Everyone's finished. I'm doing what I'm doing because no one in this world believed in me, but my wife did. And when I told her I wanted to become a new man, she supported me. And I knew there was a new man in me. And so did she. And so over my dead body, am I going to let her down? And by the way, I'm going to break my family's bloodline. I already broke it. And I'm going to teach other men now how to break their whole family's bloodline. That means if you've had a family with curses and crap, quitters, junk, complainers, and whiners, and you've always thought your last name should mean more or stand for more than what it is, good. You'll be the one that's going to carry the flag. And because you did it, guess what? Now you change your whole bloodline. Yeah. And you're never too old to wake up and attack purpose. Because you remember, I changed at 40. So, like, if you're watching this and you're 20, like, do it now. If you're watching this and you're 60, do it now. Okay. I mean, if you're not dead and you're alive, like, find the purpose and let's go. And God is waiting for those that raise their hand and say, hey, I can be counted on. Choose me. Let's go. Just that's it. When you say that, be careful because he's going to use you for something really big.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm with it. Along the way, we all have people who started with us but never made it,
Mhm.
right? It could be your friends, your business partner, even family members who have all the potential in the world but never went all in. right? Why do you think so many people never reach their potential? Like, there's people are way better than me at public speaking, with energy, charisma. I'm looking at them and they're wasting their potential. They don't believe in themselves. What's the reason?
So I always say this that I typed this thing in Chat GTP. And I said, have you ever seen that where I said, if the devil was to make you unsuccessful, these things he would do? And it said, number one, he would erode your confidence. He would make you unconfident. And so why do people quit and they're not with us along the way? They've lost their confidence at some point and they quit. You know what I'm saying? Number two,
But when you ask them, they're highly confident, but they're lying to themselves.
yeah, what we know.
Yeah.
They just don't know. Remember, most lost people don't know they're lost.
Mm.
Okay. Also, you'd be around bad influence. Okay. So if I was going to take you out, all I would do is surround you by 5 people who are negative. And so a lot of people that started with us along the journey, we once probably fed them and they loved our energy. They loved our fire at some point. But then at some point, there was like a new entering of like a new buddy or a girlfriend or something. And that bad influence infected them like a virus. And it either killed their purpose, it killed their heart, it altered their perspective, what's possible, what life would look like if they push through. I don't know. I just think honestly, like the devil, or by the way, a lot of people will sell their will to win for a lot of failure or a little bit of success. Again, people just quit, and you just can't be one of those people.
It's kind of sounds corny these days, environment making.
No, it ain't corny, dude. It's only winners understand it more than anything.
I never like shared this story, but I have a small brother and I took a different path than my brother,
Mhm.
and he almost tried to kill himself,
Mhm.
right? Recently. I'm trying to bring him back these days, but we had the same parents. We had the same teaching,
But
but
you got 2 different minds.
2 different minds,
Mhm.
and he took a different path. And one of the reason why he took the different path because I wasn't around, but at the same time, I tried my best, but also the environment was different.
Mhm.
He had a different environment.
Right.
I truly believe that one of the reasons why I am where I am, Andy, is because I took a different path. I was with different people who had a better mindset.
Well, you work your hardest to try to put yourself in the best environments possible. Am I right? I mean, you're doing it now.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you're still doing it. But most people, though, like I said, like the devil, there was this book called Outwitting the Devil, right? By Napoleon Hill. And in 1930, there was a book that was about to be released by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill had a dream. And the dream is the devil told him that he owned 98% of the world's mind. And he told them how he did it. He owned their mind because your mind isn't your friend. It would talk people out of their dreams. It would make people stay small. It would make people stay comfortable. If the devil wanted to take you out, he would make you comfortable because if you stay average, you'll never help anyone else. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And so he told him this plan. So Napoleon Hill was going to write this book, and he was going to show with the world how to not let the devil own your mind so you could crush it. But at the end of the dream, the devil told Napoleon Hill that if you release this book and tell people what I told you about I own their mind, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to ruin your family. And he believed it to be so real, he never released the book, but he wrote it. And then he died in 1980. His wife died in 1990. And then his foundation, Napoleon Hill Foundation, Napoleon Hill is one of the greatest entrepreneurs ever. You got to look him up. They released, you read the book too. They released his book in 2007 or like 2011 to the world. His foundation did because they wanted to release because he was dead now.
Nobody talks about it. Like, it
Bro,
should be a book
this
that
book
could-
is insane. When you read it, you're going to have goosebumps. Your skin's going to start crawling. You should get that book for your brother, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And it talks about how the devil's after your mind. And, I understand your brother wants to kill himself because he thinks that it's finished. It's over. And what happens is the devil makes them think, you can't come back from this. You got to remember, man, I almost went to jail. I almost got in trouble. I almost had a lot of bad things happen to me. But because I changed my life, all my life changed. And so, like, I'm the comeback kid. You're the comeback kid. We're all coming back. And your brother just needs to become a comeback kid. And so, you got to educate yourself. You got to learn some knowledge. You got to be around new people. And that's it, man. And, it breaks my heart that, when I hear stuff like that. But it's just the father of lies, which is the devil telling him a bunch of lies in his head that, he's done something. He feels guilt. He feels shame. He's embarrassed, and he doesn't believe in himself anymore. His confidence is eroded. Again, things that would stop him from being successful. So now he just needs to be plugged into some new things that can alter his perspective and change his mind. And that's for you, that's for me, that's for him, that's for anybody watching.
And if you're watching this, my brother, I'm doing this because I love you.
Yeah.
I don't.
And he's gonna come back and change.
Yeah, absolutely.
He will. He will, man. I promise you.
Yeah. Money can be lost. Followers can disappear. Business can crash. But there's always one thing that no matter what happens, no one can take away from you.
Mhm.
What's that one thing, Andy?
To me, it's it's a couple things. I call it your heart, but if you use your heart, a lot of things come really good out of it. So when we work on things and when we hire in our company, we don't hire for skill. We don't hire people who are good at sales. We hire people from their heart, good people with good values and good standards. And so I think the biggest thing that you can never lose is your heart. I think the eyes are the window to the soul. And I think people can see in people's eyes and tell if they have a good heart or not. And if you have a bad heart, you're a bad person.
Well, I was talking to people yesterday, and they were all telling me, "Hey, I wasn't good. Andy just took me and put me here, and I'm killing you right now." So,
Yeah, but they had a good heart. See, that's the key. And it doesn't mean that you have to have the best heart, but in order to be really successful or to do something big in life, people are going to have to know that you play with your heart and you have a good heart, because nobody's going to follow someone and go to war with them if they feel like they don't have their heart in it.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. That's why all these people work so hard around here, because their heart is in it.
Let me talk about scaling the unscalable. I hear all the time people want to scale their business, but no one can do it like them. I felt that way at first, but at the same time, you have to let it go and trust your systems. What was the toughest part of scaling Andy Elliott Group?
So the biggest part that I see a lot of people struggle with as small businesses and also as big businesses, but especially for any business owner, in order to go up, which is what you want to do, scaling means to go up, right?
Yeah.
You must let go. When you go to climb a rope, if you're on CrossFit, you go to climb a rope. If I'm going to go up the rope, what do I got to do?
Go.
I got to let go and I got to go up. And that's the hard part. Because when I started my company, I opened the doors, I made all the sales calls, I did all the content creation, I did everything. Nobody could do it better than me. I'm the freaking best, dude. Really, at the end of the day, you end up doing all these things, and one person doing 50 things isn't going to be great at 50 things. One person doing one thing will be great at that one thing. And so in order to scale, you must go up. You must start to delegate and give responsibility to other people. And so what happens is now I have presidents of my company. I have the VP of sales. I have someone who's in charge of this division. I have all these people. At one point, I was the best at that thing. I was the best at hiring. Nobody could hire better than me. But now I don't do the hiring. It took about 6 months to 8 months for that person to be better at hiring than me, but they're better than me now. They do it better than me now. But in the beginning, so many people, they have this problem where they think no one can do this better than me. And so I always tell people, if you want to scale your business, write down what is the one thing that you can do in your company. The one thing, one, not 10, the one thing that you know that no one can do better than you, that produces the most income, that's the best need of that. Okay, you hold on to that. Now, the other things, you got to figure out how to let other people do them.
And the biggest mistake I see from people who want to delegate is the fact that you said it. This person saw you for 6 months. They want to do it too fast. They want to teach this person in a month. But sometimes
No, it takes time. And listen, they're going to make a lot of mistakes.
Mhm.
Dude, listen, if I want to replace me in a position and I want to clone me, it's going to take 6 months to a year for that person to do that job better than me. And there's going to be mistakes and you're going to go through hell together. But that's the only way you're ever going to be a real owner of a company. And if you want to scale a company, really scale one, you're going to have to be able to get out of the machine so you can get on the machine to build it. And so many people can't get out of the machine. They never get out of it because they always have this fear that nobody can do that better than me. So I have to keep doing it. And at the end of the day, you never help someone build to be good enough to take that from you. And so he goes, I wish someone could do this, but no one can do it. You know who the chokehold in the business is? You know who the issue is? You. You're the damn problem. And so I was that way when I was, like an amateur leader. It just takes time. But you could clone yourself, and that person that is making the mistakes, eventually, if you've made a good hire and their heart's in the right place and they care, they'll be better than you.
Do you like pressure? And
Pressure?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the only way to make you great. I don't like stress. I like pressure. People say, I'm stressed out. Well, that's not pressure. If you train really good, pressure becomes very easy. But if you don't train, you're stressed.
Can you dive into it a little bit more? Why pressure is a privilege? I feel like pressure is a privilege.
Pressure is a privilege.
Yeah, more pressure you have, the more success you can solve.
Yeah.
you can have and you can solve, right? More problems you can solve. So,
Well, in order for you to be great, if you want to be great at speaking, what would I do? I would have you speak on stage in front of 10,000 people every day, right? Eventually, you're going to get good, dude, because you're going to get sick of embarrassing yourself. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's pressure. But if you don't put yourself in that situation, I put myself on that stage as many times as I could, as many days as I can. Everything that you hate, every time you put your back against the wall and you bet on yourself, you grow. No one grows without putting their back against the wall. No one. And so, but I always tell the difference between pressure and stress.
what's the difference?
Well, pressure is like, I've trained for this. Like, dude, I'm going to take this guy on a fight, but I have fought. I have practiced fighting. Now, is it a guarantee I'm going to win? No, but I'm going to go fight him. And I have trained for this. And I am ready for the pressure of he may win and I may win. Okay. But I've trained for this and I'm ready. I'm ready for that pressure. Let's go. Stress would be like, I got to go fight someone and I have time to train for it. That could be stress. Now, that pressure might kind of, I think, make me better, but really stress is what kills people. Pressure is what grows people. And so I tell people I'm like, train every day, practice every day, self-develop every day, and then take the highest pressure opportunities you can get your hands on. You'll kill it, dude.
I'm super excited for this, Andy, the conference that we're going to do in September. And one of the things that I do this last year was my first time doing a conference. I had never done a conference before. So the story behind it is, I asked Patrick David almost 4 years ago, that if you wanted to do a podcast with me. You know what he said?
What?
He asked me how many subscribers you got. In that time, I had like 1,000. So I didn't answer that question. I told him, hey, go, like, I don't have much subscribers, but I have one of the biggest podcasts, because I used to, I still do it. I have the biggest podcast for realtors and mortgage brokers. It's a small niche. So I can only have 1,000, but I'm the biggest in my city. So I told him, hey, Pat, I have the biggest in Montreal. Why don't we do a podcast? He said, get to 1 million downloads and we'll do a podcast together. 1 million downloads per episode. That's crazy. So I went back, I thought about it. I'm like, oh, that's impossible. Especially the fact that I was doing it in French. So I had a genius idea. I said, you know what? I'm going to pay him to bring him to Montreal. I called Mario, Mario, right? I asked Mario, hey, Mario, I want to invite Patrick to Montreal. Is it possible? He said, yeah, 100%, man. In that time, yeah, they were asking me $150,000 US. Now these days, like 500. I said, he asked me, do you have the money? I said, yeah, absolutely. I don't have the money, but I'll make sure I'll find the money. That's the easy part. And then he asked me, how many conferences have you done? Now they got me there. I'd never done a conference before, not even 5 people. I said, Mario, I never done a conference, but believe me, I have the biggest team. I'll make it happen. And here's what he said. He said, Sojan, I'm sorry, we can't risk it. Never done a conference. Imagine bringing Patrick and not filling up the room. He's going to look bad on Patrick. That pissed me off, Andy. So you know what I did? I made that happen with Ryan Serhan instead. And I went back to Pat, teams, Mario. I'm like, hey, man, you guys pissed me off so much. Here, 900 people, the biggest conference in Montreal, and never done before. So then after that, Patrick,
good job,
thank you. And after that, Patrick decided to do a podcast with me instead. Didn't have time for a conference. So I really believe in conferences because it kind of changed my life because my first mentor, I met him in a conference because people are accessible, right? In a situation like even famous people, very successful people, they're always busy. In a conference, they're focused. You can meet those people, right? One conversation,
Yeah,
one
one
conversation with
speaker at a conference change your whole life.
absolutely,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is, you're very present online. Yeah, I watch you online, I watch you live, and people tell us, what's the difference? Like I can see Andy online. What's the difference, Andy, for those who are like not very skeptical about coming to the conference because they can see everything online these days?
Well, number one, who you've ever seen online is just what my editing department has found that they want to clip up over things that I've done over the last couple of years. I have become probably about 200 different people over the last 5 years. And the person that I am now at the event that I'm going to go to with you,
Hmm.
I have a strategy in a way that I have decoded everything that I've done, and I can teach it in about an hour to an hour and a half to anybody that's in a room. And I don't care if you're broke and you're on E, you have no money, or if you're at the top of your game. As long as you're doing one thing, you're looking for answers. I will provide the answers in a conference that I promise you, every single person in every single seat is different. All of those chairs, whether there's 1,000 people at your next conference or 5,000, it doesn't matter to me. Every one of those chairs are $100 million chairs. I've been able to build a $100 million business in a few short years. And so, why would you not want to show up if I'm going to sit there and decode and explain how to build a business, how to build yourself, how to build your scale, the next place to move to make? If I'm going to go over that and I'm going to do it live on stage for $1,000 ticket, for a $5,000 ticket, whatever the hell it costs you, I'm in. Are you kidding me? What it costs you not to change your life is a life of regret and wasting time. One speaker, one event can change your life. The question is are these people that are teaching it, someone in that room that's teaching it, are they a theory teacher? In theory, if you were to do these things, they would work, or are they an applicant? Have they actually done it themselves? And if they have, you go to the event, you pay the money, you cut the check for speed so that you can model proven practices and do what it is that they're doing. And I'm going to tell you this, a lot of you are a lot smarter than me, and I've been able to do it. So why would you want to show up? Because if I'm going to pour my heart out and I go all the way to Canada, which I've never been, but I go there just for you guys, it's going to be history being made. And I wouldn't want to miss history being made. If you're looking for a little better life, I probably wouldn't show up. But if you're looking to be in the history books and you want to really make your life count, you'll be at this event.
And not to mention, you're also bringing quality people, meaning the people who are going to attend those conferences.
We're one handshake away from a whole new life. There was a guy that sat back here at an event just a year ago. He was making $20,000 a year, right? Which is nothing. He was just a kid. He came in here, learned some skill, came back about 6 months later, was doing better at his job, making about 50 now. But a guy over on this side of the room noticed him, liked his style, liked his attitude, liked who he was, saw how much he was paying attention, offered him $1 million job. Do you understand that he didn't even come in here to learn the skill to make 1 million? He came in here and someone saw how much he was paying attention. He goes, dude, I need someone like that working for me, and hired him. You don't ever know what's going to happen. But if you don't take action, you'll never know. If you're not in the room, you'll never know. Your next 20 hires that you need to grow your business, your next guy that you need to invest in your business or to partner with, your wife, your future wife. Dude, I have amazing, beautiful women that show up to conferences all the time. Single, savages, independent. People, I didn't even think about that. Single men. No, like, dude, like your future wife. Honestly, like your business partner, your next CEO, or maybe the next person that is looking for someone to run their company. You don't ever know. Or maybe you just change your whole life and keep going back to what you're doing and do it better. Whatever it is, there's a billion things that could happen, but they're all good. There isn't one negative thing that could happen.
Man, I believe it so much. Like I said, like one of the reasons why I was even reconnected by Patrick was because I was paying the highest ticket every damn time.
Yeah.
And eventually,
That's what you do.
and you shoot your shot, right?
Well, if you believe in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you invest in yourself. That's the way it is.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And people know it's the fact that it's in September. They're like, oh, it's far away. I'll take my time. Like,
I buy my tickets to every event a year before the event even happens.
really,
Yeah, because that way it's already on my schedule and I know what I'm doing.
you brought like an army of people.
I brought 140 people to
140 people at
the
the ball.
ball last year.
That's
Yeah, but that's nothing. I'm gonna bring 500 this year.
Why do you believe so much? And you were not speaking at all. You were front seat.
I'm a student.
Take
I love
notes.
learning.
I'd seen camera, like I'd seen videos of you like taking notes with your wife.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Listen, you never stop being a student ever. That's the game. And so our goal, the reason why you never stop being a student is because if you want to be a teacher, you got to keep learning so that your teaching keeps getting better.
Last question, Andy. I know you have to go after that. If you have to go back to your younger self and you have to give him one advice, what would that be?
I would say the greatest gift you could ever give yourself, the greatest gift. It's not a Ferrari, it's not a Rolex, it's nothing that anybody would even think. The greatest gift that you could ever give yourself, any person, is to take time spending working on themselves. When you work on yourself and you take time to reprogram your brain, figure out the patterns and cycles that you're running right now, there's something that's off, that's wrong, that's not getting you to where you're supposed to be. It's just one little thing. People think they're miles away from a new life. Dude, they're millimeters away. And so when they come to these events, I would say this: go to events, you know, spend money on yourself, take time, go into an event, listening to people for 2 days, talk about patterns and cycles in their life that have made them successful, and find the hole that you needed to fix to find the buckets of cash to make it in your life. And so the greatest advice to me, when I would go back to me at 18 and I would say, hey, every day spend 1 hour working on you. And I mean, like, learning new knowledge, studying the greatest people in the world and study how they think, hijack the way they think. And then, model proven practices, people that are successful. If you can go to an event and somebody has created success over 40 years and you're 22, like, go there, dude. They just saved you 40 years. That's how in the last 3, 4 years, I've been able to do more than most people could do in 50 lifetimes. I've been able to do it in 3 to 4 years. I just studied out everybody's success and I just run the play. And so I would say spend time working on you. That's the greatest gift.
Life changing podcast, Andy. Thank you so much.
You got it right.
See you in Montreal.
See you in Canada.